No, I never said that the Crusader's crossbow was overpowered in my last video. I never said it was bad either. I don't hate the crossbow, and I'm not a TF2 boomer who has never accepted the crossbow as part of the family. I played many seasons of competitive sixes in Highlander and have used the crossbow and appreciate its strengths in those formats. If you like the crossbow and like the skill required to hit heal shots, then more power to you. I just said that the crossbow did not fit with the established design pillars of the Medigun. That being said, the Crusader's crossbow stands out as one of the most widely used side grades for Medic's primary slot. It is agreed by the enthusiast TF2 fanbase that it overshadows all the other primaries for Medic, including the stock syringe gun. The reason being that the crossbow is not only a solid weapon, but its utility in healing teammates with a massive burst of healing from a distance makes it powerful in the right hands. 75 HP at a minimum is nothing to scoff at, as a mercenary as low as 25 HP can be granted an additional hit by most weapons with a single bolt. On paper, with these statistics and overwhelmingly positive rave, it may appear that the crossbow is the most powerful medic weapon in the game, worthy of all the praise. However, I don't think so, and that's not because I'm a contrarian who wishes to poop on everyone's parade for the sake of pooping, but rather because I think we're forgetting the true most powerful weapon. And that's the Medigun, which, might I remind you, in any format you play, both casually and competitively, the Medigun with Uber is always the center of attention. And why not? 8 seconds of invulnerability is powerful in almost every situation, especially when it only takes 40 seconds to build at the cost of healing your teammates, which is good since Medic's whole deal is healing hurt teammates. On top of that, passive abilities like overhealing grants your teammates more health beyond their existing health to make them more aggressive and survive some more damage. Crit healing, a mechanic that increases your healing rate on patients who haven't taken damage in a while, rewards smart priority decisions with faster healing, allowing your team's overall health to be the most it can be. Now, it may sound superfluous to factor the Medigun in a discussion about the crossbow, but for me, it's almost impossible to decouple Medic's primary to a secondary, as they're essential in defining what Medic is: a powerful healer with low offense combat capabilities. If the syringe gun were to be changed into a shotgun, it would throw the character out of whack. So to speak about one without taking the other into account is almost a disservice to Medic as a whole. In fact, I would say that the crossbow reinforces this notion, but more on that later. So, just in the overall ebb and flow of the game, the crossbow is overshadowed by the Medigun in just sheer support. But to be fair, all of this is not exclusive to the Medigun. The crossbow, while not able to overheal, absolutely demolishes the Medigun's heal rate at any range, as you can grant up to 150 health in an instant. God damn. You can have your patients back into the front lines in an instant, and guess what? The crossbow builds Uber too, and you can heal so much more with the crossbow in a shorter amount of time, so building Uber must be comparable, if not better, than just using the Medigun, right? At close range and with a hurt patient out of combat, a crossbow would take 35 seconds to fill up the Ubercharge. The crossbow built Uber faster than the Medigun. Case closed. Or is it? While in theory the crossbow can build much faster than the Medigun, the question here is it a practical scenario? The answer is no. You would need 20 patients at critical health all out of combat for 15 seconds, which is impossible in normal play, and even if the team sizes were to accommodate this scenario, this is not the most common way all players use the crossbow. The Crusader's crossbow is utilized mostly when the patient is in urgent need of healing when crit heals are not an option. Let's be generous and say that every patient you crossbow is hurt at least by 75 HP, so that you do the most building of Uber with each bow. The crossbow builds 1% Uber per 16 health, which means it would need 1600 health to fully build Uber. 1600 divided by 75 means that you would need 21.33 crossbow bolts to build Uber. Let's round it down to 21 just to be generous, and multiply this by the 1.75 second firing speed. This means that it would take around 36 seconds to build Uber, which is pretty good, right? Slightly faster than the Medigun. So the crossbow is at the very least comparable to the Medigun in building Uber. right? Except, even this scenario is impossible, because in normal TF2, you only have 11 teammates, so you wouldn't even have enough people to build Uber in the first place. On top of that, not every teammate that needs healing is going to be hurt by 75 HP. It's not as if you get the full 5% Uber for every bolt. You only get Uber for what you actually heal, so not only would you need more bolts to build Uber, you wouldn't be able to build it anywhere that fast because of the lack of necessary teammates. Maybe on a 100-player server, but I digress. So what can we conclude from this? If you ever find yourself in a scenario where you can have enough downtime to crossbow heal many teammates in a row, just use your Medigun. Not only will you build Uber in comparable time, you will also give your teammates much needed overhealth. And if you manage your crit heals well, your healing output can be almost as much as the crossbow, as the Medigun can heal at 72 HP per second at maximum crit heals. But fine, the crossbow can't build Uber as fast as the Medigun, but surely it's still the de facto self-defense weapon, right? Yeah, about that. The crossbow has the potential to be a heavy-hitting weapon at range, allowing you to deal a whopping 75 damage maximum. And while this is pretty potent and oddly satisfying, you gotta remember who you are. You aren't a sniper who can instantly kill enemies with a headshot, and your teammates need healing. In practice, you're not going to be using the crossbow as an offensive weapon. Instead, you're going to be using it as a self-defense weapon when your patient unfortunately dies. After all, you need to try anything and everything to save some of that sweet built Uber. And at close range, the crossbow only deals a measly 38 damage. At a fire rate of 1.75 seconds per bolt, that means it would take 4 bolts to kill a pursuing scout in around 6 seconds. The stock syringe gun, at 10 base damage with no ramp up, it would take around 1.5 seconds to kill a 125 HP scout, making it almost 5 times more lethal at close to medium range, making the syringe gun truly the best self-defense weapon for the medic, as those 4 seconds are absolutely vital in determining whether, as a medic, you live or die. Wait, what? You don't believe me? You still think that the syringe gun is hot garbage? Look, I don't think I can sugarcoat it any longer. Could I be detecting a
skill issue?
Joking aside, for many of you, this is pretty obvious. The crossbow's power doesn't rely on self-defense, but rather its utility with decent self-defense. But that's really discrediting the utility brought by the other medic primaries. The overdose significantly increases your survivability with speed boosts on Ubercharge percentage, making it easier to retreat and salvage the Uber you built. The Blutsauger grants survivability through combat by healing 3 HP per hit, almost healing medic 30 HPS if all shots are hit. This utility might sound selfish when compared to the utility given by the crossbow, but it makes sense when you realize the importance of having a medic alive, especially one with some built Uber. What this means is that with the Crusader's crossbow, you are sacrificing survivability and self-defense capability given to you by other syringe guns in exchange for your teammates' survivability. Let me reiterate this for those of you in the back, because this is important. This does not mean that the crossbow is a bad weapon, because in a way you are putting your survivability on your teammates' hands rather than your own. But it does put things into perspective, that being that the crossbow is not the greatest medic primary hands down. Instead, I believe that the crossbow, just like every other medic primary, is like an hors d'oeuvre to an already powerful tool with its own downsides, that being sacrificing game-changing value for short-term sustainability and exchanging self-defense capability for team survivability. It really is no wonder why the crossbow is so utilized in more team-focused competitive play, because of how much it focuses on team reliability. In a way, the crossbow is very similar to the quick fix, providing rapid healing to your teammates to get back into the fight, sacrificing overhealth and invulnerability. And thus, I actually recommend you equip any other primary for medic when using the quick fix, as the quick fix makes the crossbow a little redundant. Now, with all that being said, I still believe that the crossbow's instant healing is a little out of place with how the Medigun is designed, and to some extent you could make the case that it is at the very least a little overtuned. While I wouldn't really decrease the healing of the crossbow, as the exchange of uber building for rapid health is a proper trade-off, what I would suggest is, instead of instantly healing the patient, have the bolt on hit heal gradually for 1.75 seconds. This makes the bolt heal over the time that it would take Medic to reload another bolt. This way, it will more often avoid the edge case where a bolt will stop someone who already fired a projectile from confirming a kill they very well deserved. I'm not gonna lie, Lazy Purple really deserved that scout kill. While I understand that the crossbow is beloved by many Medic mains for its potency in keeping teammates alive, its lack of uber building capabilities, absence of overhealth, and lesser self-defense utility keep it in check from being a must-have primary that many people hype it up to be. Just like with Medic's other weapons, it has great strengths alongside great weaknesses. While it might be overtuned, it's not at all overpowered, as you do sacrifice significantly in exchange for team survivability. At the end of the day, the Crusader's crossbow is just another great weapon to the awesome list of Medic side grades. Except for the Vaccinator, fuck you.